Little ones, they'll vary back and forth. Here's Jessica. Little Jessica sitting on the floor. This is another picture of her. Of course, they get lots of pictures of them taken. She's underneath that Japanese pine tree we used to have. That's in her high chair. Who said she was a messy little girl? This is a picture of Paul working in his basement on his house. Awful bright picture. That's Paul in there working on the footer of his house. Paul and Jenny at Gary Maroka's wedding. Paul was best man for Gary and Rita Maroka. And they get a little older. Here's Paul and Jenny at Christmas time. Christmas tea in the background. There's Paul and Jenny. I put this one in order to show the whole family. As you can see in the background, of course, is my father, my mother, Helen, and myself. Then down in front is Bill, Paul, and Lynn. This picture, as the old timers say, I think Jenny's been eating dried apples. That's an old saying. This picture didn't come out to us. He's just throwing this picture of Jenny in. She's out next to her pool. And she is a little heavy. Picture of a bathing beauty in my pool. Of course, she is kind of nudie. But that's Jessica Lynn. Shame, shame, shame. Here's a picture taken in the dining room of Lynn and Frank and Jenny and Paul. In the dining room. Now this is a picture of Jessica Lynn. I think she's supposed to be helping Grandma with the plants. There she is, in all of her glory. Well, this one here is the second in line with Jenny. I don't know. This has got to be Jillian Brooke Ettinger and her mother. This is the picture at the side of my house in the leaves. Is Jessica holding Jillian. And Jillian's like a little pork chop there. That's the two ladies, Jessica and Jillian. Come to a baptism, and I can't think of who it is. I'm almost thinking it might be Jordy. But I think it's Jessica. And of course, that's Lydia, Jenny, her father, and Paul. So that's Lydia, Jenny, Max, and Paul. The other side of the family. Paul, Jenny, Helen and I at the baptism. I'm with Paul, Jessica, and Jenny. Of course, it's at the house in the front room with the Christmas tree. Wooden shoes on. She's got her wooden shoes. This is Jessica with her wooden shoes. And she has on her wooden shoes. Jessica. That kid did get into an awful lot of pictures. Picture of the two cousins. Jessica and Katie. Katie looks like she's one of the Dickens. Jessica and Katie, the cousins. And Jessica. Uh-oh, and here is a sad little girl. This is Jillian. And she is not happy at all. She sure isn't happy. She's one sad little girl. That anyone would recognize as Jillian. You couldn't misplace those buns anyplace. Who would have nice buns like that but Jillian? When she gets big someday, she say, "Whoever took a picture like that?" Grandma fixed the two girls up on St. Patrick's Day. This is the two girls. Jessica and Jillian. Sitting there on St. Patrick's Day with their green on. The two girls. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Jessica in the middle. Little Jillian off to the left, looking at the table because she's hungry. And the other one is Mr. Whedon. I can't think of his name. But Jessica's got foxy eyes in that one. The Christmas scene. Ginny and Paul and the two girls at Christmas time. And this is a picture of the three Eddingers, Paul, Lynn, and Bill. They still got their black hair in these pictures. This is a picture of four cousins. Mark, Bill, Bob Schultz, and Paul. Four cousins taken at a wedding. See? Paul, Bob Schultz, Bill, and Mark. Four cousins. A little rascal. Jordy. Little Jordy. She gets an awful lot of pictures taken. Little Jordan. I'm going to run these pictures off. And get rid of these slides. Then go back to other ones. That's the three Edinger girls in a golf cart. You see Jillian up in the seat, and Jessica and Jordy. The three Ettinger girls in a golf cart down in front of their garage. Christmas scene, this time with the whole family, with the three girls. And they aren't very good. And Paul's always got his back to us. In 1971, we took a trip to Europe, Helen and I, and we took Paul with us. Clyde was stationed over there, and he had his car and he took us all over. Paul didn't want to go, but we forced him to go. And so here we are on the Austrian border going in to change our money. At every border you change your money. I think it's probably taken in Switzerland, because that's Paul, myself, and his mother. And one of those trips where he didn't want to go, but we made him go. Now this is a picture of Switzerland with Paul and his mother, with a mountain in the background. That's the two of them in Europe on our trip. We're taken at a castle in Germany. We were just touring. That's Paul and I with Clyde and Jane. Clyde drove us all around. So that's the four of us in Germany. In a little town near Bastogne called Hufleys. As you can see, that's Paul and I in the background. You can see the stones in the street, how they're all laid. Everything was cobblestone street, or whatever kind of street you want to call it. That's Paul and I in Hufleys, Belgium. Right outside a small town outside of Bastogne. Helen was probably in a store shop. I was seen in Hufleys shopping. In Amsterdam, we toured the canals in a tour boat. And of course this is Paul, his mother, and Clyde. In a tour boat as we went down the canals in Amsterdam. Little Chicken Little and his mother in Amsterdam, Holland. In 1973, Paul graduated from a carpenter school course, a 2-year school in Wellsville. And this is a picture on his graduation day. And this is another picture on Paul's graduation day with Ginny and I. The carpenter. Now these pictures from here on are going to be a little mixed up. I'm just putting them in to show them. Now, when Gary Maroka got married, Paul was best man, and this is a picture of Paul and Gary Maroka at Gary Maroka's wedding. Paul and Gary. Early 80s, Paul and Jenny and the two girls. For a little over 6 months, Kodak sent Paul out to Colorado. And this is a picture of them returning from Colorado. Of them on the return, Rochester Airport, when Paul and Jenny and the kids returned from Colorado. Jenny with her mother and father.